Hello, Kristen.
Hi, Emily. I have a question for you.
I would love to answer it if I can.
Have you read this series yet? It
I
is.
have not. I have not,
I will hold it up. I
sadly.
will hold it up so people
Better
can
describe
see.
it too for
The
those who are listening.
Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon. It is so wonderful. I only have books 2 through 6. There are, I think, 8 out. Everybody is waiting for 9.
Mm.
For so long, I saw them online. Everybody was reading
Mm-hmm.
them. I'm like, I'm not going to read them because everybody is reading them. And then one day I just needed something that felt good. And
Mm-hmm.
so I picked it up and it's just so good. Like I had to get the last couple of books from the library and I'm
Mm-hmm.
already dreaming about restarting the series. So
Oh, they do sound good. Give me a pitch. Like what? I don't.
It's about a girl in I should know this, 83, and she has just come into her like her inheritance, and she shows up at this house and has discovered that her uncle, who has been married into the family, has basically squandered all of it. So
Mm.
it has humor, it has romance, you will love Emma M. Lyon. I do not know one person that has like read it or started to read it that was one able to stop or two hated it. So
I'm excited. And I
it's so
have
good.
heard, while I have not read them, I have a lot of friends who have, and I have
Mhm.
heard that the audiobooks like just came out or are
Yes.
on the way to coming out
Yes,
or
all
something.
8 are now out. She released them all. They just
Ooh.
came out. I think the last one came out maybe last month, so they're also
You know, I'm an
available. Yeah,
audiobook lover.
I
I
know.
really am.
And you can listen to like a little like clip. She's been sharing like clips or whatever on her
Oh, okay.
Instagram, and the narrator is just
Ooh.
chef's kiss.
Is it Julia Whalen? No. I
It's
don't
not.
know. Okay, because I've seen something about who the narrator is, and I can't remember who
Yes.
it is, but
Yes. No. It's not Julia. I don't remember her name, but she
okay.
is lovely. I love
Ooh.
listening to her. So
All
that's
right, add it to the list.
yes, yes.
I think it is time for us to start this episode.
Let's do it.
Hi, I'm Emily, author of the Xeris Galaxy Saga, among other things.
And I'm Christen, author of the YA rom-com It Happened at Christmas, among other things.
And we're excited to welcome you to The Margins, a podcast where we have candid conversations about the writing life, indie publishing, the book industry, and more.
Today we are going to talk about end of year recap. Part
Ooh,
1.
my favorite. I love talking about
Yes.
this
Oh,
stuff.
I do too. I do too. I do too. So I did not realize like how much an end of a year cap really means to me. And I actually did not start doing this until 2 years ago.
Hmm.
And I started because I had had a year where I felt like I had hustled. I had written, I think, 4 books, and it was the end of the year, and I had absolutely nothing to show for it. Those books ended up not being published. You know, they're kind of still in limbo. And I was so discouraged because it was like, I'm just trying to get these books out. I'm trying to write as fast as I can and, do this thing that I'm wanting to do. And it's like, what did I even do
Mhm.
this year? And
Yeah.
so that is when I started taking a step back and being like, wait a second, like, let's do overarching. Yes, maybe these books didn't publish, but they were written.
Yeah,
And,
you still wrote them.
like what else had I done that year in order to move the needle, in order to quote unquote feel like a writer, which I mean, that's neither here nor there. But so that's where I started doing the end of year recap and why.
Mhm.
What about you?
No, I think it's so great, and I would say that I haven't really done this, at least intentionally, and
Mm-hmm.
so I like this situation in order for us to, like, kind of move ahead and ask ourselves these questions, and as we were talking through this, I kind of started to break things down a little bit too, because I think it's very easy just to say, "Well, what books did you write?" And there you go. Like, well, yeah, but there's so much more to being an author. And granted, this is going to depend on where you're at in your writing
Mm-hmm.
career. So if you are not published yet, There are books that you've read in order to grow your craft, maybe events that you've attended, connections that you've made, social media things that you've done in order to like start growing your readership even before you have a book. Um, all the way to, people putting out multiple books, traveling, speaking, whatever that looks like. Those are all part of the author life. And so I wanted to have us include those in our recap as well. So I kind of broke it down into like what has worked for us with marketing, events, social media, what hasn't worked, what's failed. And then at the end, I want us to share, and I think this is going to be hard because I wrote it. I'm like, I don't know what this is, but what our biggest takeaway from 2025 is as we head towards 2026.
Okay.
So let's start then maybe with you, Kristen. Like, what
Okay.
has worked for you this year with regards to like maybe marketing? We can start there.
Um, Marketing. I feel like with my marketing, I really focused on growing my newsletter list this year.
Mhm,
I grew it roughly a thousand new subscribers.
mhm.
I have done a little bit more social media than I did last year.
Yeah, I feel like you have, especially towards the end of the year because I
Yes.
forced you to
Yes.
do the TikTok challenge with me.
Well, the end of the year is always a little bit easier for me to dive into social media because the books that I have out are Christmas books. And so it just
True.
kind of is easier for me to be like, okay, now we're going to talk about my book. Not necessarily because
Mhm.
I want to talk about my book, but because I need to sell the book.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
nobody really wants to hear me talk about a Christmas book in March. So yes, I
I
ramped
understand
up.
that.
I ramped up social media just a little bit, especially towards the end of the year. I have done a book signing,
Mhm.
and I have another one, weather permitting. I have another one
Fun.
coming up next month. By the time that this airs, it probably will have happened.
Mhm,
I feel like I have made some good new author connections in
mhm,
Oklahoma, which is where I'm from. Um, I feel like in Arkansas, I kind of had a good grasp on if I wanted to do a
mhm.
school visit, if I wanted to do a book signing.
Right.
I knew the people. I had lived there. I had grown up there. Like people knew me. They knew my family. Like because it's where I lived, where I grew up. So everybody knew everybody. I have a very large family in that town. So chances are you probably went to school with one of my aunts or uncles.
Mhm,
Um, and then I moved to Oklahoma where I don't know anybody, nobody knows me. And so it was really, really hard for me. And yes, I've
mhm.
been here for 5 years, so I don't really feel like I have an excuse, but I'm working on it.
I know. It's
Um,
hard.
Making those connections. And I'm sure you feel the same way because you transplanted from California.
Mhm,
Um, so I made some connections with some other authors who know what they're doing. They have those connections and they have started connecting me with those. Um, I have a small writers group and we've really kind
mm,
of revamped it this year. We
mhm.
are intentionally meeting as opposed to just like, do you want to meet? I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean, like we don't let ourselves we don't let ourselves back out. We're just like, we're
yeah,
gonna show up. We're gonna show up. So
yeah,
I feel like all of those things I would lump all of those into the marketing. What about
yeah,
you?
yeah. I would say I had a bit of an existential crisis with regards to like social media, at least that aspect of marketing. About probably after, I mean, a month or so after my Kickstarter finished in March. And I mean, that's pretty typical because it's like I'm just doing so much promotion during the Kickstarter that when I'm done, I am over it. But I'm also kind of like, well, what do I talk about? Like, what even is my page? But more so towards the middle of the year, I think, well, it was a hard year. We had to put my dog down. It was just, there was a lot of emotional things going on this year. And so I think that that played into it as well. It's hard to just like talk about your book in a creative way when you're just like, I would rather not be here right now.
Well,
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, and you wrote a very large book. So,
Yeah, and that was definitely part of it. It took a lot of my focus and a lot of my attention,
mhm.
this whole entire year. But if we're just talking about marketing, I would say I finally started to find my footing, like I said, maybe a little past the middle of the year and just kind of
Mhm.
got back into a routine of like, okay, this is what I post. The TikTok challenge in October really did help just
Yeah.
because it gave me actually some more of like, oh, I can use some of these posts at least on Instagram as well to
Yeah.
kind of bridge that gap. But it's funny, mentally, I see Instagram and TikTok very differently in the way
Yes.
that I use them. TikTok, I'm kind of like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't have to look pretty. I could just type in the app, not a big deal. But with Instagram, I try to make it a little
I
prettier.
mean,
That's
I
just who I
I
am.
understand because I feel like with Instagram, it lends people to like, oh, I'm gonna go look and see what else she has. Oh, it's really pretty and curated. And TikTok, I feel like we're just there to like, we're just gonna scroll. And
Yeah. Yeah.
rarely do I like this person. I'm gonna click over and see what else they have. Like, I'll be
Yeah.
like, I like this person. I'm just gonna follow you, and you're just gonna show up in my feed now. So
Right. Or if you're like looking for something like
yes,
that marketer that we follow,
yes,
like looking for her
exactly.
next
Hmm.
post, like more info from
Yeah.
her, that type of thing.
Hmm.
So with regards to that, I think that was helpful to kind of feel like I'm more on a footing of like what I want my
Yeah.
page to be about because it's just been this transition from like bookstagram to authorgram now, I guess. But then in addition to that, I did a lot more events this
Yeah.
year. Just like,
You
conventions, and I did a
slayed
lot.
the event. Like, I
Ooh,
was so proud of how many events you were
thank you.
booking and how many book signings and how many, like, bookish events. Though it just always made me so excited when you're like, "Oh, I'm going to this festival."
Yeah.
And like, "Why do you have so many cool festivals? And can you please send some to
Well,
Oklahoma?"
but let's be fair. Let's pull back the curtain here because that's what we do on the margins.
Yes.
While I absolutely had a blast at every event that I went to, and I did sell books, I wouldn't say that I sold an amazing amount of books. And I think a big part of that is just the category that I write
Oh,
in,
yeah.
the fact that I really only had 2 books out and it's a trilogy. Things like there's a lot of extenuating circumstances. My books are longer, so they're more
Yeah, well,
expensive, things like that.
I don't always look at events as I'm going solely to sell books. For me, going to events is making awareness about you and your books.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I
Mhm.
could go to an event and if I didn't sell any books, I mean, I'd be a little bit of disappointed. But after I thought about it, I'd be like, I didn't sell any books, but I talked to 150 different people who didn't know who
Exactly.
I was, who now do know who I am. And so,
Well, and go back and listen to our like preparing for a book event
yes.
episode because we share a lot of things I think that'd be very helpful for you,
Hmm.
especially if you're doing some of your first events or whatnot. Because when we went to those events, we pass out a lot of bookmarks, we pass out a
Yeah.
lot of marketing materials. And so to me, while I didn't sell a lot of books, I do think I made a lot of great connections and a lot of potential readers
Yes.
in doing that. And so I definitely see
Exactly.
I don't at all look back at any of the events I went to and think like, "Oh, that was a bust for me because I
Yeah.
didn't sell XYZ amount of books." It was just more of like, "Okay, now I have a bit better of an idea of what I can
Mhm.
expect to sell at these
Yeah.
events and what I can then like temper my expectations in a sense. And if I sell
Mhm.
more, great. And if not, no big deal because
Right.
there's more going on."
Totally.
So, speaking of things that worked and didn't work, what didn't work for us this year? Because I think that that's going to be very helpful for people to hear. And then we'll get to the happy of what did.
I think what didn't work for me is probably maybe failing to plan or failing to, I don't know, everybody's like gasping because they're like, don't you plan everything? I do. I do plan everything. But I feel like I over planned in some situations.
Mm.
Um, I went from working full time to thinking that I was only going to work part time, but really I'm still working the same amount of hours as I was. I mean, all
Oh,
of
I know
these.
exactly how that feels.
Which I mean, I'm not complaining. Like, it's all good
Right.
things. It's just I didn't plan. Like, I was planning to only work X many of hours when actually I was working more than that, and so that really cut into like
Mhm.
writing time. That really cut into some of the goals. Um, One of the things I feel like I failed at was discipline and consistency.
Mm.
A lot of
Same.
things, like looking back now, I put things on halt because there was other things coming down the pipeline that I thought were going to move a lot faster and didn't. Guys, everything in publishing runs slowly. Don't ever think it's going to run
So
super
slow.
fast. So I put a lot of projects on hold that I had planned to write and release this year because I thought I was going to be working on something else. And
Mhm.
it was just kind of like a ball of unorganized confusion, like what should I be working on right now? And instead of just, okay, I'm working on the thing that I need to be working on and I'm going to ignore this, I didn't do that.
Mhm.
um so I feel like that is probably the biggest failure that I regret, i guess
Mhm.
i guess you could say. What
Yeah.
about you?
I wrote out 3 things as I was thinking this through, because I was like, "Man, I didn't do," and the biggest one is I just didn't write a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
partly is I didn't write really at all in my name form under my pen names, and that is, like, a bummer because I have so many plans, like, so many plans for books under my other alter egos, and really not having the time to be able to write those books is just really frustrating to me because I know the series that I want to put out, and yet I like only have so much time in my life.
Right.
Um and then I also, in like my EA Hendricks name, didn't really write anything aside from book 3, what felt like all year, which it was not. But I writing, editing again, and then going to publishing. Like that's just it's a long process when you have a book that's basically the size of 4 of the books I would write under my other pen name.
Yeah.
So technically I wrote like 4 books this year, but I really only
I was gonna say,
wrote 1.
like I was trying to see if I had a book on my well, you have the book on your shelf, just like it's big.
Oh, yeah, where is it? Oh, it's so big.
It
Like,
is. It feels like that's like
it's
Sanderson big.
almost I know it's 600 pages because I just put it on Ingram Spark to be ready to, like, publish,
Mhm.
and it was 600 pages.
Yeah,
This one is
that's
a
massive.
little bit less. I don't know why it's less, actually. That's a problem. But yeah, lots of pages.
Yes.
Actually, it probably is 600 pages with, like, the front matter, I would
Oh,
guess,
yeah.
so that's probably
Yeah.
what it is. But, so those are the first 2 things, and then, my other thing that I didn't really do, which kind of ties back into that social media thing, is I really didn't do a lot of, like, thought out promotion. Like,
Mhm.
yes, did I talk about, "Oh, I have this book. Oh, you could buy this book from me if you wanted to." Like, and I do feel like poor people on TikTok who do follow me, thank the Lord that they don't see my, like, every post I make because 'cause they're, like, all the same, like, The Greatest Showman meets Star Wars ad nauseum. That's, the way that you do it on TikTok and social media in general. But I didn't really think through, oh, I could do a sale here, or I
Mhm.
have done random giveaways, which have been helpful, but they're just random. Like no set, like, oh, I could talk about this early. No.
Yeah.
I have done like I've actually planned out more sales for my pen name, which I haven't written any books for her in a while. So, I just haven't really thought it through. And so I would like to have a bit more of just a plan. It's funny because I am a planner too, like you,
Yes.
but I get to the point where it's just kind of like there's so many moving plates that I'm like, there's no way that I can do all this. So I'll just not do any of it.
Yeah,
Which is
I mean,
probably not a good thing.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. I think that's the biggest thing, and I know that in part 2 of year-end recap, when we start talking about like what we're going to take into the new year, I know one of the
Mhm.
biggest things is I need to and I want to be more disciplined because it is that
Same.
consistency of showing up every day, whether or not you feel like it, whether or not you are working 1,000 hours a day or not, just
Mhm.
showing up and even getting just a little bit in. There's a graphic, I don't have it available, but it talks about, like this is what people think consistency is. And it's a
Oh,
row
yeah.
of cups and they're all filled the same exact, like
Mhm.
this is what people think consistency is. When actually this is what consistency is. And it's the same row of cups, but some are filled, yay high, some are filled this high. And it's just showing up and getting in
Mhm.
what work you can get in because all of that is going to move the needle.
Mhm.
And so,
I will say to let ourselves off the hook a little bit. I mean, and it's weird because we talk about these things, Kristen and I sometimes been like, are we the same person?
yes,
But both of
we
us
are.
have gone through the change of our husbands are now working different jobs. And so
Yes.
that too is also a change. So for me, that means like I'm the one now taking care of my dog solely, at least during the day,
Mhm.
which is great. She's very easy to work with. So it's not a problem. Wait until we have the puppy. We'll see. But and by the time this airs, I probably will have Riker. So, I'll put a little shameless
Yay!
plug here. Go follow at Riker the Lab on Instagram because I'm gonna share all
It's
the
gonna
cute
be
posts about him.
so cute, and it's a puppy, so it's like all the fun puppy
Yes, he
love.
is a
Yeah.
black lab, and yes, I did name him Riker after Commander William T. Riker from Star Trek, but his middle name is Picard because I couldn't really name him Picard. It felt too like a
I was
mouthful.
I was
So
honestly wondering how he got Riker and not Picard because I was totally
yes,
expecting Picard.
I know. I love Picard. I mean,
But
he's
we
like my
probably would end
ultimate,
up
but
ha
it's
calling
hard to
him, like
say.
we would
Picard,
probably
Picard, like it's
Park,
ugh.
Pick,
Yeah,
Pick,
we
Pick, Pick. I don't know. I don't
but
know what he Cardi?
Riker has a
Cardi.
good
Cardi.
no, no. Riker has a good like feeling to it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's enough of that commercial. Commercial for my black lab. I don't know. But yeah, all of that to say, so like things have shifted in our
Mhm.
schedules, and that lends itself to just changes in our writing lives as well. So while I agree, I want to have more consistency. I need to find what that looks like for me, because I have been at least most of the time trying to prioritize sleep, because my
Mhm.
writing was taking up a lot of my time as well. I do less during the winter just because it's harder to get out. Like today, it's pouring. But a lot of things, like there's just a lot of shifting going on. And so for me, which this is not the episode where I will get into this, but I want to, in my planning, really take into consideration space. I've been doing that with my design business, and I will be doing that with my writing. And I don't
It
mean
works
like
really well with your branding
oh
as
gosh,
well.
that was unintentional, my friends. But no, I want to have breathing room because I don't bank that into my time. I really
Yeah.
don't.
Mhm.
And I suffer for that. So it's that, I mean, we've talked about saying no is a big part of just living, and
Yeah.
we're not good at that.
No.
Yeah,
Correct.
not good at that. So let's take the sad things and the whatever and move into things that went well this year. Where are we feeling like we did move the needle and these things went well?
Um, well, I released a book and I got a contract and an agent.
Yay!
I
That's pretty
I feel
well.
like I feel like those are pretty big to move the needle. They're
Huge,
also
huge.
like the most nerve-wracking that ways
Mm-hmm.
to move the needle, but yes. Um, I think those are my biggest wins. I don't know necessarily if they're takeaways, but they are my biggest wins for
Mm-hmm.
2025.
Oh yeah, those are excellent wins. I just finished a book. Like no. I
There is
will say
no there is no just about that,
it
especially
was
when that
huge.
just book is, like, probably 4 or 5 of the books that I would write. So
Well, as I was thinking through for this episode too, I thought because to me, probably one of my biggest wins, if we're gonna call it that,
Mhm,
was the Kickstarter went really well. It went better than I had hoped it would. And so like hitting that kind of like milestone for me, like I don't want to make it necessarily about the finances, but there was just a lot of backers and like it just did well. And I saw consistent growth from each Kickstarter, which is not always the case, for everyone who does like a series, basically. Actually, it's kind of ironic because I feel like publishing traditionally, most of the time, what you see is like there's a big drop off. And that is
mm,
true for indies as well. Series are just hard
mhm,
to catch people through. But for some reason, the third one did the best, which was really cool. I mean, you're also selling all three of the books. So there's
right.
that
Well,
too.
I
But
feel like you have hustled the past 3 years just getting the word out about the entire series, and I think you've done a good job about bringing readers along on the journey, and,
mm,
um, I still think that, your Kickstarters are some of the most fun.
thank
Um,
you.
so I think that you did a good job there, and
Yeah.
that's why you saw the upward trend as opposed to the normal down.
Well, and I was trying to figure out too, like, what is it that worked well? And I think part of it is that I was able to, like, hopefully clearly explain to people why Kickstarter is a thing. Like, why am I
Yeah.
using it? How does it work? That type of thing. And then was able to make it a community type of effort. That to me is like really, really important. So
And
to me,
I
like
feel like
that moving the needle is like huge. Like, I'll
yeah,
take
well, and I mean,
that.
I know that we have talked about this before too, but I feel like you have the coolest, like, stretch goals and swag,
Mm,
and
I do like
I
swag.
mean, I've done other Kickstarters where I get in and then I get a little disappointed because I'm always
Mm.
comparing it to Emily's, and I'm like, "Well, Emily did all of this stuff and you're only doing this." And I know that's bad. That's, like, awful, but Emily has
Yeah.
set the standard for Kickstarter, like, so high, and so when I finally
Thank
do
you.
kick the bucket, that's not the when I
No.
when I
Kick
finally
the
do
Kickstarter?
kick the bucket? No, I'm not
Oh,
going
no,
anywhere.
no.
I'm not dying.
Yeah.
When I finally do
Try
the kick
Kickstarter.
yes,
Mhm.
do the Kickstarter, I'm kind of basing off, like, I love Emily's and I see what she has done, and then it gives me a good, like, template to follow.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I have a lot of fun with it. I really do. And I am looking ahead to the next thing, so that's always fun as well.
Oh, I'm
But,
excited about the next thing.
yeah, I am too. We'll have to see. Oh, and then the other thing that I did, which you did too, again, same
Good.
person, is that I started my Substack. I
Oh,
think I started the Substack itself this year, and I'm not great at updating it, but you have to choose, you pick and choose your battles, right?
yes.
But I started my Dragons in Space serial, and
Yes.
granted, it has been on hiatus as life got really busy, but it started, and that was the main thing, was just getting it going and seeing this story, like, come to life, and I've got so many plans for it. So, to me, I think that moves the needle in the same way that going to events and meeting new people do, as us as indie authors and traditional authors as well, we have to just find our readership, and a lot of that, I think the very first thing that you can do is just write more books, right?
Yeah.
That's like the biggest part. But the second thing is just like allowing people to have access to your writing so
Mhm.
that they can fall in love with it. And then, like we said in a previous episode, have them fall in love with you, right? So have your authentic personality and have that
Yeah.
come out really strong. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we don't have a pub tip and we don't have a listener question for this episode, but we really want to invite you to come over and, like, continue come over to our Substack and continue this conversation. Let
Yeah.
us know what you've done to move the needle this year, what has worked for you, um, what failures you've
Hmm.
had this year, and what your biggest takeaway was. We would love to interact with you over there, or you can join us on our Discord, wherever. Find us and,
Hmm.
like, let's continue this. Like, let us know. We want to know your wins so that we can cheer alongside of you, and, your failures so that we can cheer you up.
Absolutely. If you are watching us on YouTube, would you consider subscribing and liking this video? And if you are listening, would you consider leaving us a review? That really helps us out. We appreciate it. And to end this episode, we are going to somehow decide what is it that is our biggest takeaways for 2025. Ooh, it sounds so scary.
It is scary.
I should give myself some time to think about this.
Gosh,
Okay.
biggest takeaway. Okay. I think my biggest takeaway is something along the lines of, when your plans fail, rework the plan, get back on the track.
Mm-hmm. I like that. That's good. I
And
wish mine was
also,
as succinct as
and
that.
also every little bit helps. So
That's good.
don't, like, if you have a word count of 1,000 words a day, but you can only show up for 500 words a day or 100 words a day, don't discredit that. Like, that is
Mm-hmm.
still moving the needle. That is still 100, 500, whatever, however many words that is still that many words towards the end of the novel, towards the end of, your
Mhm.
first draft. And so don't discount those just because it wasn't like this big chunk.
Yeah, that's good. I think mine would be that you this is so weird, but you can't do it all, and that's okay. And what I mean by that is I didn't write. I mean, I wrote a lot, but I didn't really write a lot. But that was okay because this year was a season for me. It was a season of wrapping up a trilogy for the very first time, like a very interconnected trilogy,
Yeah.
which I've never done before. Really, I've done series, but in a different way. And it was also the longest book I've ever written in my entire life. um, and so there was just a lot of things going on that also contributed to just the chaos of life. And
Yeah.
so knowing the things that I didn't need to do, like I don't have to publish under my other pen names. I don't have to put out more than a book a year, and that's okay. Like, do I want to? Yes. And do I want to get to the place where I can? Another yes. But it's okay if like some seasons just look different than you want them to. And so for me, 2025 may have looked a little different than I wanted it to, but that doesn't mean that I didn't move the needle. So I think that to me is a win then.
So until then, we'll see you later.
Bye.